Hello and welcome back to a new episode of French Ear Trumpet. Okay, I'm Andy from AJ in France and Colin from French Countryside Live. And once a week, if we can, we do a 1 hour, roughly, podcast style YouTube video that you can listen to wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And we don't do anything visually, really, do we? So if you wanted to listen to it when you're cutting the lawn,
strikingly handsome.
Well, of course, yes. One of us is anyway.
What can you do?
Anyway, normally it has a French slant on the conversation because we both live in France and we've moved here from the UK. So any information or experiences we've got, we can pass them on to you. Anything we say in these videos is literally our experiences. We're not experts in anything really. So just take it with a pinch of salt. It's for entertainment purposes, really. So this week we are going to do movies. That sounds strange, but we both love movies. Absolutely love movies. But if you want to see some content on this that is related more to France, I can tell you coming up, we have an interview with my brother who runs a business in France, and he's an artisan. And he's going to give us an in-depth look into dealing with tradesmen, artisans, and what to look for, pitfalls, and how to get the best value for your money. So that's going to be really interesting. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'd be good.
Also, I've recently spoken to a bilingual architect as well, who is helping me out, and you'll see that on my videos shortly. And he's quite happy to come and speak to us for a bit and talk to us about planning and the differences between planning and just getting a permit to do specific things on your property and the differences between them. And there's some very strange rules. So that's going to be a big one.
Do you think since Brexit, there'll be less people wanting to come over and spend vast amounts of money refurbishing houses?
No, I think it'll be the same. In fact, I'm a member of a lot of Facebook groups, and there's a massive influx of English-speaking people coming here. Some from the UK, but mainly from America and Australia. They're the two biggest immigrants to this country, I think, since Brexit. Definitely. Why? I think it varies for different. So my brother, not the brother that you've seen in my videos, but I have another brother who lives in Australia. And he recently came to visit for a few weeks and stayed with me. And he absolutely loves the place because it's green. You have proper seasons and there's history, and the buildings are
more than 200 years old, aren't they?
Well, yeah. So while he was here, he did actually say to me, look, I really want to go and see somewhere with some history to it. So near me where I live, there's a quarry. And during the war, World War II, some intellectuals were taken down there and they were all shot for a retaliation against a German officer further south. And you go down there and they've got a memorial there, a museum and everything. And he spent the time walking around it and looking at it. And he was really emotionally moved by it and saying, you know, this actually happened here in this very place. And it's different, I guess, for him because it seemed so far away from where he was. So he really enjoyed that. And I think, you know, you can go look at medieval buildings. You can look at things that happened in the war. You can, if that's your thing, or you can, there's all sorts of different things. And you can base yourself here and then visit the rest of Europe very easily and very quickly. Yeah. But you can't do it from America and you can't do it from Australia. But if you lived in France, you could hop to London. It only takes an hour from where I am. You know, you could go to Estonia, you could go to Spain, Portugal very quickly. And I think that's a big draw. So for retired people who want to travel, if you move to France, you're right in the middle of Europe.
Mm.
So, and the property prices are quite low. So,
Yeah.
depending on which region you're in.
Yeah.
So, I think that's what it is.
Very interesting.
Mm.
So, movies.
Lots coming up. Lots coming up. Lots coming
Yeah.
up.
Definitely.
Stay
Yeah, no,
tuned.
that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting. I can't wait for all that.
Yeah.
That'd be good. So, movies.
Movies. So, I don't know how we start this.
Well, yeah.
Go on.
The only impression, right, that I'm any good at, okay, and it's not even a line from a
This
movie.
is not a good way to start this. Go on.
Right?
Go on.
The only impression that I'm any good at is Michael Caine in Zulu.
Okay.
Right. Ready? Oh, throw that bloody spear at me.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh my God.
Oh, dear.
Yes, brilliant. That's a great way to start it. Definitely. I think maybe we could say something along the lines of, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh no, see, no, that's difficult.
Of course, it's difficult. That's the
It's
idea.
difficult. Yeah.
Go on then. Favorite movie of all time.
Favorite movie of
You
all
have to
time.
pick one. Life or death scenario.
Oh mate. Man on Fire.
Right. I'm glad you said that one. That's one of the ones I looked at because I know how good the film is, and it's brilliant. And what makes it a good film is the director, I think, Tony Scott.
That was the one that died, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's Ridley Scott and Tony Scott, aren't
Yeah.
Mm.
Tony Scott. Let me think of some others he's done. Deja
Did he
Vu.
do Black Hawk Down, or was that his brother?
Yes, I think it was him, and he did Deja Vu and Top Gun.
Oh, did he do Top Gun?
He was also credited on Top Gun 2 as well, because they wanted him to be credited for that because of, just the kind of film it was. Also, there was another film, Deja Vu, Top Gun, but Man on Fire is not an original.
Okay, didn't know.
It's a remake. It's a remake
Of
Man on Fire.
Okay.
Man on Fire, 1987. And the main star is Scott Glenn. Now, and Joe Pesci is in it as well.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is, Scott Glenn is a name of an actor that if I said it to you, you probably don't even know who it is.
No, I don't. I've got to say, I don't know.
But when you see him,
oh, he's character.
He's one of them.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
He's one of them. He's been in everything. So and that
for me, I think Man on Fire, without getting too intense about it, it's a story of redemption.
Yep.
It's a story of seeking forgiveness that's never going to happen. When he says to Christopher Walken, doesn't he? Says, "Do you think God will forgive him? Do you think God will forgive us for the things that we've done?" Yeah. Christopher Walken says, "No." And when he's dropping the little girl off at school, incidentally, Dakota Fanning, who's the little girl in, she's in Equalizer 3.
Yes, she is.
As a grown-up woman.
Yeah.
So when Denzel drops a little girl at school, and the nun at the school says to him, "Do you ever see God in the work that you do?"
Yeah.
He says, "No." Was it on one of the flock, or one of the sheep that lost its way?
Yeah. It's an incredible film. Yeah. It's so well put together.
Yeah, and to it. And there's, sorry, just to keep interrupting, but there's the scene where there's like a parakeet in the room.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
it opens the door to let it go, and that's another allegory as well.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I think a lot to do with that as well is the acting from the actors as well is brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
even though at the time Dakota Fanning was quite young, probably, I don't know, 9 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
She was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you really get the feeling that it tells a story and you're in it, and I like that about a film. And you don't really get that from many. And I've got to say, Man on Fire, there's certain actors that I'll watch them whatever movie they're in.
Yeah.
Denzel is one of them, for sure. I mean, some of the movies he's done that are
Training Day, just
incredible.
Yeah.
When I remember first watching that, thinking, "Wow, that's just amazing."
Yeah.
Just so well put together.
Yeah.
But the other film I was thinking about, Tony Scott, was the car racing one, Days of Thunder, that as well.
That's the Tom Cruise one, isn't it?
Yeah.
With is that the one with Nicole Kidman as well?
Yeah, she's the doctor in it. Yeah, it's very good. So yeah, Man on Fire is brilliant, and another film with him in it as well, which is amazing, is Crimson Tide.
Oh, where is the sub commander?
Yeah, him and Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
And Gene Hackman is one of my favorite movie stars / actors. And that's a good point, actually. I think there is I don't know, I was discussing this with my brother. I think there's we both think there's a difference between actor and movie star.
Yeah, of course.
So you can be a world-renowned movie star, but not particularly good actor. But you can also be a great actor, but not a movie star. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, look at the guy. Was it Scott Glenn?
Yeah.
Obviously a brilliant actor from what you described, but
yeah,
who? Sorry, Scott, if you're watching.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. I'm sure he is watching as well. Yeah. So in movie star category, you got people like Tom Cruise, for example. He's probably right at the top there somewhere. But then in the actor category, you'd have someone like Daniel Day-Lewis, who literally lives the role, is the role, and has won so many acting awards. It's ridiculous. But
I remember reading about Heath Ledger when he was doing Joker. He locked himself away in a hotel room for like 3 weeks or something ridiculous, and just didn't speak to anybody, and got himself into the frame of mind to play a sociopath.
Yeah. And it's similar with Daniel Day-Lewis, who probably, in my mind, is the finest actor ever. But I'm not saying he's the biggest movie star ever.
No. Tell you what was a really, really good film we did. That was, is it There Will Be Blood, about the oil? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Just brilliant. Gangs of New York as well.
Yeah. But apparently he was also, like Heath Ledger, is a method actor.
Yeah.
So can you imagine him being in the role of some of the villains he's played, especially from Gangs of New York? And he's in it for the entire length of the movie. All his friends and family, his wife particularly, have to put up with him because apparently he kept it going the entire time. So that would be absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Who I think sort of crosses the
boundary of movie star and actor.
Movie star and actor. And that's the fella from Catch Me If You Can. What's his name?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. When you see him in Wolf of Wall Street, and because he was in Gangs of New York as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Just a really, really good actor.
Do you know he got his first start in a film called The Quick and the Dead?
Right.
It's a Western with Gene Hackman and Sharon Stone in.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen it. I love westerns.
Yeah.
But that was one of his first movie films, and his wages were paid by Sharon Stone.
Really?
So she said, "Look, I want him to be in it,
Yeah.
and I'll pay for his salary." It wasn't a lot back then, but it was his way in, and she actually brought him in, and that's where it went from there, which I find quite interesting.
Sometimes you need a helping hand, don't you?
I don't think he does now.
Yeah,
I could probably agree with that. Actually, he's been in some good movies. Catch Me If You Can was brilliant.
Yeah, he was really good in Django, wasn't he?
Yeah,
really, really good in that.
He's been good in pretty much everything he's done. The only thing I disagree with is The Revenant. I didn't. It was okay. It was a good film, but I don't think it was.
It was about 3.5 hours long, wasn't it? I know it was a long old film.
Yeah, it wasn't for me, that one. No.
Even though it's a western, really. Well, was it a western?
No, he was a survivalist guy, like
up in Alaska. And
yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then you do get some actors which are typecast. I say actors, they just play the same role. So Liam Neeson, for example, don't get me wrong, I like the films, but it's very similar. Each burnt out cop on the edge of something.
I'll just
back from the brink.
I'll just do the screenplay on the back of this bag packet. Yeah.
Who we got to play it? Liam Neeson. Yeah, I'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
But it's interesting with that one. He did a film, and I've forgotten the name of it now. But he was an assassin, and he ends up in the river and loses his memory, and he can't recall. Unknown. Unknown. It's called. And he was an assassin sent to kill somebody, but he got his head smashed in a car accident, and then decides to be on the other side, which was quite interesting. My dad really liked that one. It was interesting.
So you say like westerns. So what's your best western? Not the hotel. I mean the.
I'm going to give you a bit of info here. Actually, the first film credited of CGI.
Okay.
Ever using CGI in the film? Well, it's actually apparently it's in Vertigo, but I think it's just for the stairwell sequence, and it wasn't actually. Of course,
yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, with the one with James Stewart.
Yeah. And it's the stairwell sequence, but I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, it goes down.
It's technically not CGI because they actually made a machine to do it,
right?
Just for that shot. So, as we would understand CGI, I think the first film is a film with Yul Brynner in it.
Okay.
Do you know many of Yul Brynner's films?
The King and I, Magnificent Seven.
Not that one.
The Magnificent Six.
No.
That's one before it.
That's it. No. Westworld.
Oh, Westworld. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew when I said it, you'd know it.
Yeah.
So that because of the robots, and you can see through their eyes of the robot. That was the first CGI in any film. But it wasn't the first film so the first film that had miniatures and CGI in, and the last film, or the first film that had both miniatures and CGI, that's it, was Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is
I used to love the old was it Ray Harryhausen, I think his name was. He did the he really perfected the stop motion and live action and stop motion. So like Sinbad and what was the other one? Was it Golden Fleece? Is that what it was called?
No, I know it's the one with Medusa in it.
That's it. Yeah.
Is it Jason and the Argonauts?
Jason and the Argonauts. That's it. Well done. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I used to love that. I was fascinated by that. That's stop motion. Fascinated by it.
yeah, and that was like the precursor really to CGI, wasn't it? So,
yeah. Did you ever make a flipper book where you'd
yeah,
get a book and then you'd do like something happening and then each frame and flip it?
Yeah.
Fascinated by it.
It must have taken so long to do those films.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
The first fully animated film, do you know what that is?
When you say animated,
fully CGI film.
Oh no, don't know.
Toy Story, 1995.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so good.
You think that
wasn't it?
that it'd been going on before that, but it wasn't. That's the first fully CGI film.
I think there was I remember reading in the Guinness Book of Records about there was a scene in Toy Story where it had the most animated moving parts. So it was the scene where the penguin's lost his squeaker and he gets put up on the shelf. That might have been Toy Story 2 actually, but the penguin gets put up on the shelf.
Yeah.
And there's all the little motes of dust, and each mote of dust in the sunlight is separately animated. Just incredible.
Yeah, the advancements are amazing. Like, do you remember the film Abyss with Ed Harris?
Yeah.
Another top favorite actor of mine, Ed Harris. I watch anything with him as well.
Yeah.
I remember reading about how they made the Abyss, and you can still, if you Google it now, you can see it. It's a massive concrete reservoir in somewhere in America, and they chucked all the stuff in there, and then they sent divers in, and they actually filmed all those sequences underwater. They actually did for real.
Brilliant.
And everyone fell out with James Cameron because he's the director, because he was so hard on them, kept them doing it, and Ed Harris nearly died a couple of times because he couldn't get enough. Because he does a bit where he goes from one part of the underwater vehicle to the other, and they made him do it a couple of times, and he didn't make it one time, and the divers had to rescue him.
What about talk about Ed Harris? What about A History of Violence with Viggo Mortensen, who's another brilliant actor? Yeah,
very underrated, that film, I think.
Very underrated, yeah. And the acting in it's spectacular, because for someone that hasn't seen the film, the process of the film is that if they haven't seen the film, I shouldn't be telling them about it, should I, really?
Yeah, you can. It's so old. I mean, what's 2001 maybe?
Yeah. So the premise of the film is that a guy turns his back. He's a hitman, really, I suppose. He turns his back on the crime world and settles into the Midwest, into small town America, running a diner. And some hoodlums come along and shoot the place up, and he deals with them in a spectacular manner. And of course, that makes the media, and the gang that he used to be involved with, I think it was his brother actually, who was the crime.
It was the boss, I think.
It was the boss, yeah. Sends Ed Harris to bring him back, and the transformation from the mild-mannered diner owner to the obvious Chicago hitman. You know, just the way that he moves and the way that he speaks.
It's a very underrated film, and I would definitely recommend that to somebody. I think Viggo Mortensen was. He's done another one, very not similar, I guess.
Oh, what? Where is the Russian?
I think he's called Good.
Okay.
It's No, right. Okay. So we're going to get into one of my pet hates here. And that is all these new Netflix and Amazon movies
Right.
that are just literally churned out for the sake of churning out a movie. And I really don't like them. Like, and I find it disappointing when actors I really like have dropped into, and obviously they've been offered wadges of cash to do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And one of the ones I was most disappointed with is Tom Hanks.
Okay. Well, what with Greyhound or?
Graham was okay. The story was actually quite good, but they'd obviously skipped a lot on the CGI for that, but because they wanted to pump it out, and they were just relying on the fact that he was in it to sell it, so they can reduce the money they actually spend on it. But if you look back at the amazing movies he's been in, like, I mean, we're talking top tier movies more or less every time, right from scratch. Yeah, Saving Private Ryan, for example. I mean, is an iconic movie.
Yeah.
How do you go from that to, for example, News of the World, where it's just him driving around West.
I've not seen that. So.
Well, yeah, because it's not very good. It's just literally bunging him loads of cash so he can sell their movies.
Yeah.
So he goes around and he reads the newspaper to people in the west of America in the 1800s. It's absolutely terrible. So I never thought, why would he need the money? So why would he do that? I don't get it. And there's very few actors that have gone that way. But there's very few actors that haven't gone that way. So, for example, like Tom Cruise, for example, he doesn't do the Netflix movie, or he's retired. Daniel Day-Lewis is retired now, but yeah, I just don't get it. I don't like them. They're almost like. Do you remember when you were younger, you go and you could get a B movie from the video shop or?
Yeah.
They're almost like B movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's just fillers, aren't they?
So, while we're speaking about that, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, the thing about him is, he started off in the B movies. What are going to be but they become iconic now, don't they?
Conan the Barbarian, yeah.
Very Commando, or Total Recall, and at the time they were not blockbusters, were they?
No,
they were.
No, they was popcorn.
VHS.
Straight to VHS.
So.
Oh dear.
But now they are
straight to Laserdisc.
Straight to Laserdisc. No one can read them now. Got all these movies, I don't know what to do with them. But then as he went on, he got better and better, obviously. Like one of my favorite films is True Lies. Right.
Yeah, with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. I loved that film when I first saw it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just the comedy value, everything about it is really, really good. It's family can watch it and all that. But I found out recently that's actually based on a French film.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of French films, there was a French movie called The Intouchable.
Yes.
It's such a good movie. And it's just recently been remade with something Hart. What's his name? Not Tony Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, yeah. Kevin Hart. And the fellow from Breaking Bad.
Yes. That guy.
Walter White.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. But the French version of it is far superior. Far superior. It's all about this very rich Parisian who has a riding accident and becomes a paraplegic. And there's a guy from the projects who just applies for the job so he can get his benefit. And he actually speaks to the guy in a wheelchair and says, "Oh, can you sign my bit of paper so I can get me benefits?" He says, "Well, no." He says, "Well, why not?"
And then it goes on from there.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, he ends up getting the job, and it's a true story.
It's brilliant. It's an absolutely brilliant film.
Great movie, yeah. What a
Yeah,
great
absolutely. Speaking of French films, so I went to my friend and said, look, if you're English and you're going to get a film to watch in French, which films can you recommend to help you learn the language?
That's interesting.
So, I don't know if that comes up all right in the right way.
Garlic of the...
No. It means leg or breast, we would translate that as.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
It's a culinary comedy.
Right.
Very easy to watch. And then The Big Blue.
Big Blue, yeah.
With Luc Besson.
Luc Besson, yeah.
He's the director. And then basically they're all really old, funny movies, but they're really easy to learn French from.
Yeah.
And they're well pronounced, and they've got English subtitles as well. The Gendarme de Saint-Tropez apparently is one of the funniest.
Okay.
There's Oscar as well.
Okay. They are old, aren't they?
But this one, the Grand Vedril. Okay. That's my French accent, by the way.
Well done.
So that is one of the best. And then this one as well, the Cornio. But this one, right, let me tell you a story about this one. So Terry Thomas is in it.
Oh, really?
As the British officer with his big...
Right.
Oh, hello, chaps. Yes. Very lovely. So when I came over in 2007, something like that, to visit my mom, down at the there's a tower here, a medieval tower, and we went for dinner, and there's a restaurant that looks out on the tower and the lake, and it's really, really quite pretty. And while we were eating dinner, they started putting chairs out and all sorts of stuff, and it started getting dark. And I said to the waitress, what's going on here? Oh, it's the free cinema night. And apparently every June or July or whatever it was, they put on a outdoor cinema for everybody, and everybody can just come for free.
Oh, lovely.
And it was this.
Right.
And it's a slapstick comedy about two Frenchmen impersonating German officers in World War II, and Terry Thomas is there in a comedy role as the old British officer. And we couldn't understand a word of it. Back then, I couldn't understand any French, but it was so funny, and because it's all slapstick comedy, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. So they're recommendations if you want to watch some funny films in French and learn French at the same time. So there you go. I thought I'd get that in there for you.
There you go.
Bit of French.
So listen,
go on.
I've got a list.
Go on.
And now let me put my glasses on so I can read it.
You don't wear glasses, do you?
Oh, it's you. So I've got some quotes from movies that I've written down. All right. Oh. And I want you to tell me what movies they're easy.
Go on then.
So right, so that's the first one, ready? So big off shiny ones that look like they could skin a crocodile. Guns for show, knives for a pro.
No, go on. No.
No, it's Lock, Stock.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's the way you tell them.
Yeah. So, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. So, I was driving down the A12 towards Colchester a while back, and there was an abandoned caravan by the side of the road. All the windows smashed in that, and someone had spray painted on the side of the caravan. Do you want to buy a dag?
Dag? Do you like dags?
Do you like dags? So, the next quote.
Go on. I'm going to be terrible at this, but go on.
Do you like dags?
That's Snatch.
Snatch, okay. Well done. How about this one? All bets are off.
Still Snatch.
Still Snatch, brilliant. Well done, well done.
Getaway. You're a getaway driver, aren't you, Tyrone? Of course I am.
Sorry. Yeah, what about this one? I don't care if he's Muhammad, Ahmad, Bruce Lee. You can't change fighters.
That is Bricktop in Snatch as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. Oh, don't.
I made that now, Bruce Lee.
I don't care if he's Muhammad, Ahmad, Bruce Lee. It's funny. Oh, right, okay, so a bit of a departure. Oh, I'll get closer. Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Oh yeah, Space Odyssey 2001. That
What's
I
the
can't
next
do
one?
that, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Yeah. Directed by
The guy from Clockwork Orange, was it the crazy guy?
Stanley
Stan Kubrick.
Kubrick. Well done, brilliant. All right. Right, see if you know this one. Okay, I'll do the accent as well.
Oh,
Thank you, God.
Say that again.
Thank you, God.
It sounds like Rocky.
No, it's Spike from Notting Hill when he walks into the loo and there's Julia Roberts in the bath. he's walked in with page 3 from The Sun.
Oh yeah, guy, forget that. That's Notting Hill.
Yeah. Well, this one. I'm a hip old granny who can hip hop, bebop, dance to your drop, and yo yo make a wicked cup of cocoa.
I have no idea.
Really?
Wait, hold on. Let me think about this. Granny?
I'm a hip old granny who can hip hop, bebop, dance to your drop, and yo yo make a wicked cup of cocoa. There'll be people shouting at the screen now, you know that, didn't you?
Well, they can. You know. Go on. Tell me.
Hello. This is Doubtfire.
Oh. Right, I'm going to tell you about that. I have only seen that once.
Oh, okay.
And it was when it came out.
Right, that's a long, long time ago.
And that's probably why I don't remember
Okay.
that. I don't have kids.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So
I would never have rewatched that.
So there's a scene in it where Robin Williams has decided that the only way that he can see his children is to dress up as. So he goes to see his brother, who's a film makeup artist, and he gets made up to look like an old Jewish lady, and he says, "Never eat gribner from a moil. It's so chewy." Well, I found out just recently, right, that gribiners is crispy fried chicken. It's like a kosher crispy fried chicken skin. Oh, it's like a snack. And a moil is the person that removes foreskins.
Right.
So Robin Williams says, "Never eat gribiners from a moil. It's so chewy."
Oh. What
It's true.
what a legend.
Yeah.
He was something else, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Force of nature, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. So
always wonder,
yeah,
if you had a time machine and you could teleport back to a place and a time, and and Robin Williams was just gonna sadly kill himself. If you could just say, if you could just appear there and say, "Look, let's go and talk about this. Let's go and have a pint." Wouldn't that be fantastic?
I think it's more complicated than that. He had a massive. He had a brain disease.
I read that he had.
That caused.
Was it Parkinson's or?
No, well, it was similar. It's kind of it affected his mood massively,
Right.
and that's ultimately what led to it. So
Such
I
a shame.
don't know whether Colin turning up, taking him for a pint might have saved the day. I'm not sure. Maybe he put it off for a day. It might have done. I don't know.
You never know your luck.
Yeah, exactly. But I do like watching his films, though.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
He's very, very unique, and he was. I like Good Morning Vietnam because at the time when it came out, it was quite controversial as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what's really good and much underrated. 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah.
Robin
Did
Williams,
you know?
much underrated. So good.
He did a film with Al Pacino as well.
Yeah. Insomnia.
Insomnia, yeah. And that was never really right. So the 90s was the golden time for movies.
Yeah, I think I was about 10 then.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't.
No. The 90s, though, because you look back on it now and you think, my God, that was a good film. Why did that never win an Oscar? And then all you have to do is Google, if it's a 90s film, I'm not joking you, Google that year and the Oscar winners.
Yeah.
And it'll be something ridiculous. Like there'll be 3 or 4 other mega blockbuster movies. You can pick any year in the 90s. I'm not joking, and you'll get top films, like proper top Oscar-winning films in any of the years than 90. It's a challenge, by the way. So you can't pick a 90s year where there wasn't an absolute top banger of a film. It was the decade of it. Absolutely.
When you think that also that it'd be the 70s, wouldn't it? Late 70s. I mean, you had Concorde and Star Wars.
Yes.
You know, and that's what 55 plus years ago.
So yeah, Star Wars was
77.
77. Yeah, could go with that. Yeah. So 3 years before I was born.
I'm so old.
Yeah, but
I remember having a few of the little Star Wars figures and just throwing them about and that. You know, they were worth a fortune there.
Oh yeah,
absolute fortune.
Yeah, absolutely. Star Wars was for me growing up was fantastic for kids. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. And then you had the other two, and then I don't know why when they sold it to Disney, it just didn't seem the same after that. But
no, well, it's Disney-fied, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the new ones at all. I like the old ones, but not
mind you, there was all the original Star Trek movies as well.
Oh yeah, I do like those.
Yeah, you know, the ones with William Shatner, the proper ones.
Well, when the news in 2009 they brought out Star Trek, the new one. In my mind, they cast everyone brilliantly.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it was actually a really good movie. The first one, I thought, wow, this is great. This can take off now. We can, and then I think it all went wrong with the one with there was a guy, Idris Elba in it.
Right.
Not that he was a bad actor or anything, but that actual movie, the screenplay was terrible. And it was just like any other. I don't like superhero movies. I really don't. I can't watch them. So
Jane's the same, funny enough.
I don't like any movie with too much CGI. You know, the exception would be The Matrix. When it first came out, because it was cutting edge and that had never been done before.
Yeah.
The first Matrix was like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before with the stop motion.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't like CGI green screen at all. Which is why I like the Mission Impossible films. I think they're good. The James Bond films are good because they minimize how much CGI they use.
2 questions for you.
Go.
2 questions. Favourite Bond?
I actually like Daniel Craig so far.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
But I think the people who say Sean Connery, I think 50% of them say it because they think they should say it.
Yeah.
And they probably haven't watched all of them.
Well,
he was a man for his time, but he's just nothing compared to.
Yeah. Well, when you read the Ian Fleming books, Bond is a steely-eyed killer.
Yeah.
And Roger Moore just wasn't. It was comedy time, isn't it? But you watch the Daniel Craig movies, you know, Skyfall and Quantum of Solace wasn't that good, but it was okay. But he's believable as the Bond character.
I think when we saw Casino Royale,
yeah,
that was brilliant.
Yeah,
I think it was 2006, was it?
Was it really? No. That can't be right.
But I don't know if. Here we go. This is an exclusive to French Ear Trumpet.
Okay.
I collect movie posters.
Right.
Original movie posters from the year in which the movie was first in the cinemas.
There's a shop on King's Road that sells them.
Not anymore, but they used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it. And that's where I buy them from, but they're no longer on King's Road. They're online now only.
Right. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, obviously. Well, why would you? You just sell them online. Yeah. It's called Art of the Movies.
Right.
Adam there sort you out with genuine posters, and they are all certified. So I've building up a collection, and you'll see on my videos coming up, by the way, I've got a gallery that I'm going to put upstairs. But I've had to make my upstairs landing
house bigger
without sunlight, because I can't afford the sunlight to degrade the pictures.
Right.
So that's coming up shortly in the videos. But one of my favorite ones I've got is an original Casino Royale James Bond from when it first came out.
What, the Sean Connery one or the?
No, Casino Royale, the Daniel Craig, the original one.
Right.
2006. Is the one where he's got the gun in front of him. But it's just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a huge cinema poster that they had, but it was never used, so it's no folding, no damage to it or anything. It's one of my, apart from some of the others I've got are brilliant as well, but that's one of my favorite ones. I've got original 1980. I'm going to say 1984, 96, Top Gun.
Okay.
Unfolded as well, which I'm super happy with. Obviously, that being Top Gun being my favorite film. So, although recently, Top Gun 2 is now my favorite film. So.
Okay.
Anyway.
So the need for speed.
That's it.
So, second part of the question.
Go.
Second part of the question, and it's a question that a 14-year-old would ask you, so you have to forgive me. But
that's all right.
Who would win in a fight? Now, think about this, right? Who would win in a fight between Daniel Craig's Bond and Matt Damon's Jason Bourne?
Well, the quick off the block answer would be Jason Bourne.
Because he's got moves, hasn't he?
But I'm not sure, because whoever Bond has been up against, literally anyone, there's always some way around it. There's always some weakness that he finds that helps him out. So I don't think it's as easy as you think.
I can see it.
Yeah. I think if you'd have said any other Bond, then I would have.
That's why. If I mean, you could put, you could say who'd win a fight between Roger Moore's James Bond and Sooty and Sweep.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, but with that question, that's a good question, because although Daniel Craig always wins, obviously.
Mm.
It's Bond. It's always reliant on something else happening. Someone else steps in at the last minute, or there's a weakness that he finds, or he's got a gadget or something like that. If it was a straight up fight, I'm going to have to say, with Bourne being a trained killer, special forces, etc., previous military experience, it's going to have to be Bourne. But there's that edge.
I thought he was going to say Mohammed Bruce Lee Arnold.
Yeah. So I would have to, if you were looking at it logically, I would say Bourne. But in the world of movies, I think James Bond, something would happen, or he'd find something, or there'd be some.
Yeah.
For example, when he's fighting that guy on the train he's massive, he's 7 foot tall.
Oh yeah.
But he electrocutes him in the teeth with a lamp. So there's always something like that going on.
That could happen. Yeah.
So you'd have to put him in a boxing ring, fight to the death with no other things than Bourne. But if there was stuff happening around.
All right. So what about Jason Bourne fighting John Wick?
Ooh, John Wick, I think. Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
Because he's just no surrender. He's a complete animal. But I love the first film. Second film was good. As it goes on, it gets progressively worse. So, in that vein, name me some films where the second is better than the first.
Mission Impossible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mission Impossible is good. As you already said, Top Gun. But I mean, there was 20 odd years, wasn't there, between or more?
I think the thing about Top Gun 2 is, and don't get me started on that because we'll be here all night. Just briefly, the reason that Top Gun 2 is better than Top Gun 1 is because there's lots of nostalgia in it. So it combines the two films together, when normally the sequel doesn't do that. Go on then.
Sequels.
There's one obvious one.
Rocky.
Yeah, maybe.
Go on. What's the obvious one?
Terminator 2.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because Terminator 1 was one of the we were talking about earlier. It was one of those B movies.
Yeah. But I mean, that was Graham Bacon as well in its time.
Yeah, it was. What was the name of the actor that played the main character in that? It'll come to me in a minute. But Terminator 2. So James Cameron, he basically sold everything he had to fund the production of Terminator 1.
Oh really? Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, literally, he sold everything. I don't know if he sold his house. He might have sold his house as well. Because he said, "Look, this is the business. This is it's going to be a good movie," and it was, obviously.
Yeah.
And then they said for Terminator 2, it was more or less the opposite. It was like, "Well, what do you want for Terminator 2?" And then after that, because they spent millions on that film, millions and millions. If you adjusted inflation for today, it'd be insane the amount of money they spent on that. Because I remember in that series in Terminator 2, you know, where they have the officer goes in the mental institution, goes to get a cup of coffee.
Yes.
And the T2 is the floor.
Is the tile, yeah. Yeah, the red tile.
That's the most expensive scene on that, apparently.
Really? You wouldn't think that, would you?
And they had to get, because when he comes up out the floor and forms a human figure, and the cop turns around, looks at it, and then he turns into the exact mirror image of that. They couldn't do that with CGI. So the guy that plays the cop is a twin. They're both twins, identical twins.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
So that's how they did that scene. But the actual raising from the floor is the most expensive part of that film.
Fascinating stuff.
I love all that stuff. It's
great.
That's my next for my gallery upstairs. is a Terminator 2 or Terminator. I don't mind either. Original poster, but I don't.
How much would something like that cost? If you don't mind me asking.
Depends on the film.
Yeah, obviously, but it just
depends on the provenance. On what?
For example, Terminator 1 or 2.
If it's an original one in excellent condition, but you've got to get the provenance and a certificate, you'd be looking at 1,200, something like that.
Right.
So yeah, it's Star Wars are the most expensive. Some of them are at 4,000 or 5,000, depending on which film it is. There's some that are super rare, like Clockwork Orange is quite rare. You can get one of those; they're expensive. Yeah, it's just depending on the film and then the quality and the provenance. But I actually don't want to just pick any old films. I just picked up films that mean a lot to me from when I was young. So I'm on the hunt for Back to the Future, Indiana Jones. I've got James Bond and Top Gun and various other ones.
Indiana Jones are good movies, aren't they?
Oh, brilliant!
So good.
Have you seen the latest one?
Well, after your glowing review, you saw it with your brother. I did actually give that a miss, as it happens. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Surprising. I just right.
I thought I'd use those 2.5 hours to do something more useful in my life. So I shut my hand in the car door for an hour and a half.
It's funny because there's certain films that you just don't want them to make a sequel of.
Right.
You know, and Back to the Future is one of them. But Robert Zemeckis, who's the director, owns the rights to Back to the Future, and he said there's going to be no more unless I'm dead. So we've got until he passes away, and then they're going to start. No doubt, someone will just offer somebody. Say Netflix can come along with 20 million or whatever, and just buy the rights from whoever's got it, and
make a pants movie.
Then we got Back to the Future 14 with just some nobody. Because if you think about it, Back to the Future is one of the only original like trilogy movies that haven't been extended on.
Yeah.
Even Aliens have been extended. Indiana Jones, James Bond, all that sort of stuff. But Back to the Future has always just remained those 3 movies, and that's why, because the director said he was never gonna do that. But when he dies, it's up for grabs, I guess.
One of my favourite movie experiences, like watching a movie, it makes me smile every time I think about it. So I remember I was doing a job for the US Navy, and I was sat in an S-Class Mercedes. They had one of the first cars to have a DVD player, as part of the entertainment system. So sat in an S-Class with 3 Navy SEALs, right, watching Team America. Right? I've never laughed so much. It's just the funniest thing.
How would you explain that movie to someone who's never seen it?
Right, so a cross between Thunderbirds and South Park.
Yeah. That's a really good description, actually.
Yeah. Just the funniest thing.
When that came out, I remember at the time I'd literally just met this girl, and it was the first time I went to her house and said, "We'll get a film in." I said, "Oh, a new film's come out, Team America World Police." And I thought, it won't be that bad. And I just remember putting it in the DVD player and about 20 minutes in thinking, oh my God, what have I done? It's the first time we're in our house.
Anyway.
And when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, like this is just, it's so inappropriate for a first date, really.
Oh my God. Did you get a second date?
I did.
Well,
Yeah.
well done, yeah. Well done.
Don't bring a movie.
Yeah. Unless it's the sound of music, don't bother bringing a in.
It was funny, but it is a funny movie, but you've got to be quite thick-skinned to watch. I don't. If it was made today, I'm not sure.
They couldn't make it today.
It's very similar to feeling to the Mel Brooks movies, Blazing Saddles. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they would show that today either, would they?
Blazing Saddles. Telegram from Mongo. He punches the horse.
So if anyone hasn't seen it, it's a film about a sheriff that appears in the West, and he's black, and they just don't like it. So it's a very strange, but it's a send up of racism, basically.
Yeah.
So it's not a racist film; it's a send up of racism, but it's quite funny. But I still don't think they'd put it on. I mean, they put warnings on telly for the British Empire and stuff like that now, so I don't think they'll do that.
Who's the other actor?
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder, yeah. When he says, oh, you know, I used to have a really steady hand, but now, you know, I can't fight like I used to with the gun. And he goes, look at that. He says, well, that's not moving. He says, yeah, that's my shooting hand.
Just basic. Do you know Mel Brooks did another film? Well, he did loads of films, obviously. Yeah. But one of the films he did was Spaceballs. Did you ever see that?
I don't think I saw that, no.
It's a send-up of Star Wars. And we grew up on it. And it had John Candy in it as well.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh, he's brilliant. Funny. Brilliant.
It's funny.
So I remember
Uncle Buck and Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Oh, Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Yeah.
Absolute legend of a film. That.
Remember the scene where, because that was Steve Martin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I drove Steve Martin for, about 10 days. And he had this thing where if someone came up to him and asked for an autograph, he'd give him this little business card. And after 3 or 4 days, I said to him, "What's the deal with him business cards?" He said, "Yeah." And he didn't say "yeah." He said, "There's one of the cards. Have a look." And on this little white business card, it said, "This is to prove that the bearer of this card has enjoyed the Steve Martin experience."
Clever.
Yeah.
Clever. Yeah, that's a good film as well. Yeah, Planes, Trains.
And so there's a scene in that Planes, Trains and Automobiles where Steve Martin's asleep in the car, and John Candy's sitting there. He's got his big coat on, so he tries to hold the steering wheel with his knees, and he's trying to take this big coat off.
Yeah.
And he gets one hand wedged, or he gets the sleeve caught down by the side of between the seat and the door, and he's trying to get the other arm out. So, and then he gets that caught on the handbrake, and he's driving along with no hands. Oh, just so funny. Just so funny.
It's classic, or was classic comedy, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. What you were saying earlier about sequels.
Go on.
Lethal Weapon.
Mm.
Just brilliant. All of them.
Yeah. I do like that series of films. But then, fortunately, they stopped at, I think it was 4, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
And that was the right time to stop, I think.
Yeah. Joe Pesci was really good in them as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, you're saying about actors, that Joe Pesci could do that character, and then play a complete sociopath in Goodfellas.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, funny how
he would go in the actor pile, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I was never really a big fan of gangster movies, to be honest, but recently I've been watching them and I quite like them. There's one that Al Pacino does, Carlito's Way.
Yeah,
I really like, and it was what if you're not a big fan of gangster movies, then watch Carlito's Way, because it's not really a gangster movie in
it's a drama, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like an ex-gangster who's trying to go good, and
they dragged me back in,
but it doesn't work out, but not through fault of his own, really. And I really liked that film. So from there, I then watched the others, and the other day I caught myself watching, by surprise, obviously, Godfather.
Oh, brilliant! Just brilliant.
Yeah, some insane. When you look back at it now, there's actors in there that that you see later on in your movie life, really. So
Al Pacino, yes.
Al Pacino, but there's Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall, just a brilliant actor.
Which, again, he's on the list of the ones that I will just literally watch anything. Yeah. He's just sat there reading the phone book, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah.
All the way up to because he's in Days of Thunder as well. He was the. I love that. I don't know if anyone's seen that movie, but it's a racing car. It's very American, but it's out of the same stables as Top Gun, same director, same everything, really. I think, what was his name? Scott and the producer. Anyway, Robert Duvall is the trainer of the race car driver. And there's a scene where Tom Cruise is driving around as fast as he possibly can around the track, and Robert Duvall's just sat there with all the team just eating ice creams because he's not doing what they want to do, and then almighty fight ensues afterwards, and it's quite interesting. But he just plays that character so well.
Yeah.
And then he was in Gone in 60 Seconds as well.
Yeah.
Well, he was in loads. He was in loads.
He's been in loads and loads of stuff. He was in Apocalypse Now, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Love the smell of napalm in the morning.
I mean, yeah, with the big hat on.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, big cavalry hat on.
He's been in so many good films. Yeah.
Good movies.
So many good actors. We lost. So I think we should say we did lose Donald Sutherland.
That's right.
Last night.
That's right. Yeah.
Yesterday. He was in all sorts of films.
Yeah.
So he was in everything from Old World War, well, even before that, but he was in, do you remember the Invasion of the Body Snatchers? He was in that.
Yes. Yeah. Scary stuff.
He played that perfectly.
Yeah.
He was absolutely spot on for that.
There was a movie years ago. I think it was called Don't Look Now. And I think it may have been set in, I want to say Venice.
Yes.
Yes. And it was a proper scary film.
Yeah, and yes, I remember it.
There was a little figure running around in like a red coat, wasn't there?
It was. I can't remember the year. It was pretty old.
It's got to be 70s, I reckon.
Yeah.
Late 70s.
It was good though, but he was always very good at whatever he did. I mean, literally before he died, for no other reason than it was on TV, I watched Space Cowboys.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
Clint Eastwood, Donald Sutherland, James Garner.
Yeah. Rockford Files.
And Tommy. What's his name? Guy who played in Under Siege with.
Yeah.
God, we haven't got dementia today. Anyway, it'll come to me.
Him.
But there's a load. They're all in it, and Donald Sutherland plays a character in it. The acting in it is brilliant. So he's an old astronaut from the 50s, and he's brought in to repair a satellite in the 90s because Russia's got their guidance system in. It's worth watching. It's a Clint Eastwood movie. It's worth watching.
That's where we go. Yeah, brilliant. So many movies, so little time.
Oh, and I could talk about movies all day long, really. I love it. So during COVID, and if you look on my videos, you'll see I built a cinema in my house on the top floor, just to watch some of these movies. It's brilliant. Every now and then, again, you know, it's my passion. Some people can't stand football, can't stand rugby, but when a new film comes out,
love a movie.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Should we talk about France a little bit, or?
No, not today.
Not
today. Oh,
we'll come back to that.
I guess we could say that. Have a look on my videos. If you are living in France, most big towns, most big cities have cinemas that show films in English. So if you're American, Australian, or from the UK, if you look at the cinema, if you go online, look at their webpage and look at their program, if it says VO, that's version original, which means it is the English speaking or American, basically, and they will have subtitles. So you can go online, and most big cinemas, especially when a movie first comes out, look for VO in the listings and go and see a
I never knew that. Yeah, every day's a school day.
That's it. I found out today, or the other day, that the local supermarket to me, and it is throughout France, have a scheme where you can book a electric car for the day, and it only costs you a couple of euros.
Yeah, that up in Normandy in Leclerc.
Yeah,
but it was booked up for months and months.
Yeah, but it's all over France. So if you want to get the taste of driving an electric, this is nothing to do with movies. If you want to get a taste of driving an electric car, you can literally just go online, sign up for this. It doesn't cost anything, and then it's like 2 or 3 euros, and it's fully charged when you get it. So you can do like 200-300 kilometers for 2-3 euros. That's it. Okay. And then as long as you get it back by the end of the day, that's it.
It's really good. Really, really good.
So anyway, I just found that out the other day.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we find out nowadays.
Yeah.
In France.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's what this channel's for.
That's
finding out things you don't know exist in France. Look at the top tips one.
Yeah.
There's lots of top tips in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was before we started filming, I was talking to Andy, and I said about Jane was wanting to get a repeat prescription, and she'd left it a little bit late, and so I was a bit worried that there was going to be an overlap between running out of the prescription that she needed and getting a doctor's appointment. So I phoned the receptionist, who doesn't speak any English at all, and why should she? I phoned up and asked for a rendezvous, an appointment, and she said 10:20, okay.
The same day.
Yeah, and this was like it was about 9:30. By the time I got through it, yeah, about 9:30. 10:20, all right. So we went there, and so basically from the phone call to driving out to the pharmacy with the appropriate prescription filled was about 2 hours. It's unbelievable. And I said to the doctor, actually, doctor's brilliant. He's Spanish, and he speaks English, which is really helpful. Obviously, we're in France, and I said to him that there's no way this scenario would ever happen in the UK.
No.
Ever. And he's actually from Fuerteventura. And he said, no, it's just normal.
Yeah.
It's what you said. He said, no, it's just normal. It's the way it should be. And I just said to him, Vive la France.
Waving the flags on the back.
Which he thought was hilarious. So,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Great. Well, that's been quite an enjoyable, just fun episode, I guess, that we talk about something we like, as opposed to trying to give information all the time. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just if you can tell me films in the comments where the sequel is better than the original,
that'd be interesting
to know. And then we might, at the beginning of the next one, we might come back to that and see if there's any.
We will do.
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to know that.
Brilliant.
Because it's not normal. There's not normally, but there are a few.
There are exceptions.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for this one. Do you want to?
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and if you're still watching, well done you.
Yes. Get a medal, a little badge.
Yeah, well done you. So if you'd like to give the video a thumbs up, that'd be great. Maybe share it on your social medias. Press the notification bell so that you know when there's new content. And maybe think about subscribing if you're not subscribed already. And all that leaves to say is that it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.